All right, so unless you're living under a rock, you probably know that the housing market is absolutely booming right now. According to CNBC, the rate at which homes are selling right now has not been seen since 2005. And according to the Wall Street Journal, housing prices are at all-time highs right now. This is obviously great news for homeowners and not so great for people who are looking to buy a home. But something that a lot of people are just not thinking about are property taxes. Property taxes are based on the value of your home, so as home prices surge, so will your property taxes. All right, so what can you do? How can you save on property taxes? If you stick around until the end of this video, you'll find the most effective ways to minimize your tax bill. All right, welcome back to Life Accounting, everyone, where we help you save on taxes and boost profits. And if you want in on that, be sure to subscribe to our channel. My name is Sherman, a CPA here, and today I'm going to give you the steps to lowering your property taxes. Property taxes are one of those hidden fees associated with owning a home, and it can catch you by surprise if you don't carefully plan for it. So if you want a couple of proven strategies to lower your property taxes, then stay until the end of this video. And if you enjoyed this topic, let me know by clicking the like button below. All right, so let's jump right into it. Before I start telling you how to lower your property taxes, let me first explain to you how property taxes work so you can plan accordingly here. There are 5 moving pieces of property taxes. Number 1, the fair market value of your home. Number 2, the assessed value of your home. Number 3, the exemptions you claim, which you'll learn is very important here if you want to lower your property tax bill. And number 4, the millage rate, which is effectively your tax rate. And finally, number 5, the levying entities that you are paying these property taxes to. So let's go ahead and break this all the way down and explain how you can save on your property taxes. Here is a sample property tax bill. As you can see here, the fair market value of this particular property is $360,000. In other words, the fair market value of your property is how much the property is worth. And if you're looking at your tax bill, this is how much the city thinks your property is worth. That part is important because if that amount is too high, then you might be paying too much in property taxes. But I'll tell you how to handle that a little bit later, so be sure to stick around until the end of this episode. Now, the important thing to know about property taxes is that you do not directly pay taxes on the fair market value of your property. Instead, you pay property taxes on the net assessment value of your property. Now, the net assessment value of your property is simply the assessed value of your property minus any exemptions, and trust me, you want to be using exemptions. But hold on for a second here. What exactly is this assessment value stuff, and how is that different from your fair market value? The assessed value of your property is the percentage of your home that is subject to property taxes. Technically, you do not pay property taxes on the full value of your home, just the assessed value of your home. For example, in the city of Atlanta, the assessed value is 40% of your home value. So if your home is worth $360,000, like in this example, then the assessed value of your home would be $144,000. That is the amount that would be subject to taxes if you don't use any exemptions at all. But by using exemptions, you can lower your tax bill even more. So let's talk about it. What are exemptions? Exemptions, for the purposes of property taxes, are like tax deductions. It lowers the amount of money that is subject to taxes. And there are all kinds of exemptions out there, and they vary based off of the city and county in which you reside. For example, in the city of Atlanta, there's the $30,000 basic exemption, $10,000 state exemptions, county exemptions, exemptions for senior citizens, low-income individuals, surviving spouses, disabled veterans, and so much more. And to be honest, that's a whole lot of exemption opportunities. And this is not unique to Atlanta. 90% of states in our country have exemptions. There are only 2 states that do not have exemptions, New Jersey and Pennsylvania. So unless you're living in those 2 states, there is a high probability that there are exemptions available that you can use to lower your tax bill. However, you will need to check your eligibility and the requirements in your city to see if you are eligible to claim any of those exemptions. A lot of the exemptions in Atlanta, where I live, are for seniors, veterans, surviving spouses, and things like that. But even still, I was able to find one that I was eligible for, a $30,000 exemption for just being a resident and owning a home in the city. This is mind-boggling to me because most of the homeowners in the city probably don't know about this and would be eligible for something like this, but they have no idea it exists. But luckily for you, you're watching this video and should subscribe to keep finding ways to save more money on your tax bill. All right, so let's move on with our example so I can give you the exact steps that you need to take in order to take advantage of this. So remember, your net assessment value is what you're actually taxed on here. And the millage rate is the tax rate that is applied to your net assessment value to arrive at what you owe for tax purposes. And as you can see here, there are a variety of different millage rates used to calculate the taxes that you owe. You might also notice that these millage rates are different for different line items. This is due to the 5th and final moving piece here, the entities that levy the taxes that you pay. Each entity assesses a different millage or tax rate to fund things in your city, like schools, parks, and other operating expenses that it has. So as long as you understand those 5 things, then you pretty much have the gist of property taxes down. All right, so let's get to the fun stuff. What are the steps you need to take to lower your property taxes? There are 2 primary ways to lower your property taxes. I'll discuss the first one, but the second one I give you is much easier. The first method to lowering your property taxes is to appeal the fair market value of your property. As I mentioned earlier, the fair market value on your property tax bill is what your city or county thinks your property is worth. However, if you have reason to believe that your property tax is worth less than what is stated on your bill, then you should appeal it immediately. Although your property tax is based on the assessed value of your property, that assessed value is based on the fair market value of your property, so you still need to keep that in check. If the fair market value of your property is too high, then so will your assessed value of your property that is used to calculate your taxes. So if you disagree with the fair market value, this is what you need to do. Number 1, read your assessment letter. In most cases, your local government will send out a notice with your property tax assessment. If you believe your fair market value is too high, then you need to challenge it immediately. The reason why you need to act immediately is because you only have about 30 to 40 days to submit an appeal once you receive your tax assessment notice. And if you miss that deadline, then you will have to submit your appeal next year. All right, the second thing you need to do is check the data. You need to check the facts listed about your property. Is the lot size correct? There's a big difference between 0.2 acres and 2 acres. Review all of the facts associated with your property to make sure there are no incorrect assumptions listed there. And then the third thing you need to do is check the comps of recent properties that have sold in your area that may be comparable to yours. Take a look at what they are paying in property taxes in comparison to you. You can easily find this because most local governments have public databases that allow you to see this information. If you find that comparable properties are being assessed lower property taxes than you, then you may have a valid case for lowering your property taxes. Most local governments use systems to automatically calculate the fair market value of your home, which could be completely different from what your home actually appraises for based on the current market conditions. And then the fourth thing you should do is request a formal review. Once you've done all of your research, call your local assessor's office and let them know that you would like to discuss your assessment and present your case. Ask for a formal review of your assessment and see if they will revise your tax bill. And then finally, the fifth thing you can do is appeal the review if you disagree with it. If your review is unsuccessful, you can appeal it. However, if you get to this point, you might want to consider hiring an attorney, as there are many that specialize in this. But for me personally, I'd probably call it quits after the review is unsuccessful and move on to the second strategy to lowering your property taxes, which is using property tax exemptions. A much easier path to lowering your property tax bill might be to determine if you qualify for any property tax exemptions. I already hinted at this earlier, as most cities have exemptions that you can claim to lower your property taxes. So if you want to do this, here are the exact steps you should take. All right, step number one, find the website of your tax assessor. You can typically find the exemptions on your tax assessor's website. If you don't know this, then you can normally find it on your tax notice or your tax bill. And if you don't have this available, then just Google it in your area. When I filed for my property tax exemption, all I had to do was go to the assessor's website, and they had an entire page with information on the different exemptions that are available. If this is not available on your tax assessor's website, then call them to inquire about the different exemptions that may be available and how to apply. The next step here is to simply submit an application. When I was filing for my exemption, I was able to do this online in about 15 minutes. I did need a little bit of information though. I needed my parcel ID number, which I found on my tax notice. I needed my driver's license. I needed my car tag number, and they even needed a copy of my car registration for whatever reason. So you may need to have these things as well, but be sure to find out the specific requirements when you're applying through your tax assessor's website. And then boom, once your application is submitted, your work is done here. You'll just have to wait to hear back on if your exemption filing was successful or not. And there you have it, folks. Those are the two main ways you can lower your property tax bill. You can appeal the fair market value assumption that your county or city made, or you can claim exemptions to lower your net assessed value, which ultimately lowers your tax bill. If you enjoyed this video, let me know by clicking that like button below. Be sure to subscribe to our channel if you don't want to miss another episode that can help you save money and boost profits. And I will see you in the next episode. Thanks for watching.